Very auspicious day, very powerful day. We started the day with the Homa. We did a special Homa for Kartikeya today because this day is the most important day for Kartikeya. Because this is the day the Shakti veil was given to Kartikeya. There were 12 weapons he needed to slay the evil, to slay the Asuras. 11 of them, Shiva Bhagavan gave it to Kartikeya. One he could not. And that one was very important. He needed it. Then Mother gives it to him as Shakti veil, as a Jnana veil. With that only he slay Surapadma, all the Asuras he slays. And today is symbolically very, very powerful. Pusha constellation is a very powerful constellation, very large constellation. Pusha. Actually, Mother's star is Pusha. Divine Mother Parashakti's star is Pusha. So it's a very auspicious, very powerful day. On that day, we are given the privilege to be here to see the Abhishekam, and I was fortunate to be able to do the Homa this morning. So it was a wonderful, wonderful blessing and a great privilege for us and those who can see through the camera. We streamed even the Homa. It's important for the devotees to think during the time we do the Homa. So if you hear about it, if you're notified, try to watch it from home, from wherever you are. The fundamental point is at that time your mind should be connected to Divine Mind. That is the fundamental principle. So as much as possible, we try to share as much information as possible. And Kartikeya, as you know, is a commander. He was given ability to fight the demon. Asuras were created by Mother. Devas are created by Mother. Why should she create Asuras? Because Asuras are as important to us equally. Because without them, we cannot have the ascension, our own rising from human to divine, or from a lower conscious level to higher conscious level. That is the purpose of us learning all this and to get the divine grace, so we can keep ascending. Because we are not static as a human. We have lots of voyage. We have to traverse. Ultimately, what is our aim? Self-realization, to know who we are. We are divine spark. From her, we lost that connection. We have lost it. That is a fundamental ignorance at the time of birth. The minute you manifest again, you lost the connection. So you have to recreate the connection so that we would know who we are. We are not just this mind, body, intellect complex. We are more than that. We are really part of Divine Mother, which she created. And the purpose is another long story. I won't go into it. It will take too long. There's a purpose for creation. And the created being have to ascend. And to do that, we have to slay the Asuras. Even though they were created by Mother, because we needed the stimulus to ascend. Without that, we would not be able to go to that level. So she created both Devas and Asuras and let us be under the control, and each one do what they can, what they're capable of, what they can. Ultimately, it's us. We let them do it. So once we self-realize, we realize ourselves, that is a soul, that is only reality. The rest of it, mind, body, intellect, temporary, short-term rental, 100 years is gone, and it's of not that much consequence. The only thing which is permanent, which is real, which is of consequence, is that soul, the Atman. So we have to realize it, we have to know it, and then we have to get Divine Mother's grace to be able to be back to her. Ultimately, that's all is purpose. We came away from her. She created us. We didn't come away, but she created us separately. But she left that Atman so that we can go back and connect to her. That is called self realization. All the things we do, spiritual activities and spiritual knowledge we try to gain, is to realize that fact. We are from Divine. And we will go back to her. After it will take, how long it will take? Like Krishna Bhagavan told Arjuna, 400, almost a million lifetimes. Almost. 840 lifetimes. Arjuna has lived. That's what Krishna Bhagavan is telling him. I have known you that many times, but you don't know me. You don't remember. Maya covers it, Mahamaya. She's sitting there as a Mahamaya, Mariam. But all this has a purpose. We have to go through, just like we went to school, college. Somebody could have given us the knowledge with magical powers, but that is not the way it is. We have to go through and the travel. And the travel, we should look at it as that is journey is the end point. Don't look at it just as a journey. Then you keep on looking for the end point. Don't, just enjoy. So Mother says, I want my children to have Boga and Yoga, both, not just yoga alone. Have both, to enjoy the journey and then come back to me. It's a very beautiful concept. And she tells it clearly. I want you to grow up and come back to me, not just come back to me or I take you with my grace alone. You earn it. And that is the joyous part. So don't look at the destination. Look at the journey and enjoy the journey. Destination will come, but enjoy. Don't miss out waiting for the destination, because eternal in time and space, there's no limitation. We limit it by days, years, within our mind. But truly, there is no time in a way we understand. Time is eternal. That's why she's called Eternal Mother, and this place is called Eternal Mother Temple. And she's doing so much for us, so much for the world. And this temple is built as a protection during this age of Asuras. This period is Asuric period. It's Kali Yuga, so we expect it to be Asuric. But it will get worse and many bad things will happen. So she said, I will give protection. I will build my house, you come and take the protection and continue with that. That's what we are doing now. And she's going to grant us the most magnificent temple we have ever seen. You have not seen it. It's all in the back, so you don't get to see it. You can see it once you complete. We'll start. Mother Sannidhanam probably will be ready by September. That's Mother, Ganesha and Kartikeya, that family. Then there will be almost 30 different deities, many of which we don't even know. They're new, but they're powerful, protective energy. So she wants the world to have it. That is the reason for this temple. And she designs it. We don't, because many of it we don't even know them, that aspect. Those deities, we don't know. So she knows what we need and she brings them and gives protection, not just for us, to the world. But we are the fortunate one to be involved in that process. That is a huge benefit, great blessing, and we are participant in that. So being here on this day, today, on a Pusha star day, Thai poosam. This month is Thai. The Pusha is the day, today. So on that day to be here, in a magnificent plan she has, to be participant means you have earned it. I have earned it. How long? Like Krishna Bhagavan said, almost a million lifetimes. We have wanted it. We have invoked her. We wanted her to be part of us, and we want to go back to her. Essentially, that's the ultimate endpoint. We want to go back to her, where we came from. That's a long process. That involves not only a human life. We have to ascend up to divines. So our destiny is that we'll go up to higher form of consciousness, higher level of consciousness, and you'll keep growing until we reach back to the origin. And she has done everything needed, and she continues to do what is needed. This is very mind-boggling if you understand the implication of what you're doing. Usually, humans invoke the divine and go after the divine. Divine doesn't come and do all that to us unless we have earned it. We are special. So obviously we are special. For her to do this much, to take us back to her. So we have to appreciate it. That's why I said a journey. That it has an end point, but don't wait for the end point. This is the end point. In other words, what she's saying is enjoy everything. Good, bad, danger, safety, everything enjoy, because I'll be with you, I'll protect you. And once you know that, and you see what is happening, because the way she's planned the temple, you see the model down here, it's magnificent. She hasn't left off anything. Every aspect of her, which is needed, particularly now, the dangerous period. Kali Yuga is the dangerous period, you know that. It's the final Yuga. The end point comes at the end of it. You all go back to and then start the cycle again. And that time, to be involved, to be participant in this temple is a huge, huge boon. And to be here today on Purushya's star, Kartikeya's day, because he slays the evil, is the commander-in-chief, is the most powerful aspect of divine as a protective aspect. That's why he's Kartikeya, is Muruga. That is why he needed so much. These battles took place thousands of years, not one day or 7 days. Mythology would say they all met in that and battle was over. It goes on. Actually, it goes on forever. The battle between good and bad, evil, and it goes on forever. And again, both are needed, and she created both of us. So I look at both of them with respect, and Tarakasura is destroyed today with Shaktivel. So you think of all the mythological implications of Thai Purushya. And Purushya, as I said, is a very powerful constellation. Mother's star is Purushya. So we are very blessed to be here on this day. And who chooses it? Who makes this happen is Divine Mother. She only can do that. In this temple, anything happens, she plans. Even the fact we are here, and I had the privilege of doing the Homa this morning and do the Abhishekam. Abhishekams are important because it's symbolic of our love, our affection being poured into the cosmic energy. We use the symbolism, but it's very, very deeply symbolic, and we should think of all that. So when I was watching the Abhishekam, I think of the implications of what we are and what she is, what Kartikeya represents. Ultimately, it's all her. But it is many, many intermediaries. But today, he is the commander, and he is the one who slays the most powerful asuras, Surapadman, today's Tarakasura. And then again, fundamental question would be, why should she do that? Why should she create asuras? But the question should be, she should. Without that, there is no challenge, there is no ascension. We need, without unhappiness, there is no happiness. Same way, everything is polarity. The opposite should be there. But she has given us protection. She has given a wonderful temple, and she's creating many aspects of her which are very unusual. That temple, once it is done, will be the most magnificent. And we are very special to be involved, and for her to take us and use us as agent to for this protective area, because the world will go through major crisis in the near future. That is the reason why she is doing it. But you don't have to worry, because she will take care of it. Those entities, some of them are very unusual. Many of them I have never even heard of it before. But the world needs it. At this time, acidic time, we need it. So today is one one such day when we show our appreciation, our thanks. No, thanks. And this morning's Homa was wonderful. Homas are very important because we invoke the highest energy directly, and we use Agni as a mediator, and we use Swaha Devi as a mediator. All these are very meaningful, and when we invoke them, we need the intermediaries. And today, Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti, both Valli Devayana, they are his aspects. And our tradition is such, we use both polarities, Shakti and Shiva, both aspects. And today is Valli Devayani, you saw them there. We did the special Abhishekam, and it was very touching to be able to think deeply, be with them, and make them, or wake them up in us. Maybe that's the right way. They are here in us, but we have to wake them up. We have to be aware. Everything is awareness. Once you are aware, they exist. If you are not aware, they exist, but we may not relate that closely. So ultimately, it's a very scientific concept. The energy exists, but you have to contain it, you have to relate them, and feel the love, the affection, the reverence. Those are all emotions which we need to draw them, or to wake her aspect in us, which is dormant. We are not aware of it. So by participating in these functions, if she chooses us, and today she chose us, which is a great privilege. It's hard for me to explain how so many souls, she chose us to be here on this day. And she blesses the world. Every life form she blesses. But being here in a place where she plans, she designs a magnificent house for us, that shows how personal goddess she is. It's not a myth, she's personal. It's between her and you. Any intermediaries are there. Yes, we need a place you can come and connect to her. But she has to first decide to be here and choose you to come and participate with her. That's a huge boon. It's unbelievable boon. And we are the recipients to that. And I want you to understand, because the more you understand, the more reverence, love, affection comes, the more you imbibe her, the more she wakes up in us, the more your travel goes on quickly. Our travel is long. We have to go through Devic phase. We are humans. Next we will go into Devata world. This place is the entrance to Devaloka. That's a different loka. But we will be there. She invited us. So naturally she would introduce us. That is the reason why this place is full of Yakshinis, Vidyadharas, Mohinis, all this intermediate energy. These are non-human. These are cosmic, higher vibratory energy. If you want to be scientific, that's the way you describe them. Higher vibratory energy, we cannot feel them, we cannot know them because they are a million times more vibratory. But they exist. And vibration exists in us. Everything in the universe is vibrating. There's nothing in the universe which is not vibrating. Our level varies. Ours would be 10,000. This one inanimate would be 1. So there's a big difference between us. But ultimately, we all come from one source. So today is such a day. So think of Kartikeya, think of what he represented. And also think of Asura Padapan, Tarakasuran, Simhamugan. All these Asuric energies are needed for us to acknowledge. Ours probably is the only tradition, I'm talking about religious tradition, which acknowledges it. No other religion acknowledges. They don't acknowledge the existence of evil in the tangible form I'm describing. But they are true, they exist, and we have to acknowledge them and overcome them, meaning defeat that negative Asuric energy. Today is such a day where he would slay that Asura with the Shakti veil, and we would participate along with him. And that Asura is in us, in each one of us. So once we are aware and we have the divine grace, which we have because she invited us on this day, special day, and granted us the Abhishekam, the privilege of doing an Abhishekam. Abhishekams, homas, prayers, worship, all these are needed. We do because our separation is so huge, trillion times separated from her. So we need all these functionalities to get back to our root, our origin, which is divine. And that repeatedly you have to tell yourself, you are divine. And then you have to grow up to it. You can't just say you're divine. You have to become divine. That means you need, most important, grace. Remember the word, grace. Grace is something is given to us by her, by the Creator. I say her, you can say this if you want. To me, Shiva Shakti is one. So that knowledge that we came from that source and we will go back to the source. And we are not just this mind, body, intellect and ego, which is what I am interpreting. Or you know me as that only. You don't know me as the divine spark of Mother in me, because that you don't think of it. You should think of it because that is the truth. That is the only thing of me which you should be interested in. But you're not. You're interested in my mind, body, my position, all illusory, temporary, short-term rental. This is a short-term rental. But we don't look at it that way. We look at it, this is real. No, it is not real. But this is going to go. The next 20, 30 years, I'll be gone, and most of us will be gone. But that spark, the divine spark from Mother would exist, would always exist. But we have to use it to go back to her. We cannot just waste it. Otherwise, our life is wasted. Sometimes people ask me, look how fortunate this person is. Born in a very rich family, beautiful, handsome, all the college education, wealth, children, grandchildren. Then I say, then what? To me, that life was not a very useful life. Suffering is very important. Penance is very important. Sacrifice is very important. Life has to go with that. Then that life is protected. If you're given all that, in reality, you enjoyed it, but what did you accomplish? You used a short-term rental and enjoyed it. But I want us to earn during the time. The earning is something of permanence. That comes from the wisdom, the knowledge, all spiritual activities we participate in, which she grants us out of her grace. Again, goes back to grace. You need her grace. You can learn, you can become a jnani, wise person, but all that would not take you to that level, but back to her. The grace is something she grants it. You earned it. She doesn't grant it for nothing. You earned it. You might have taken a million lifetime, but you earned that. You wanted to know her. So our mission statement says to explore and experience Divine Mother. That's very profound. To explore and experience is what Vasishtha asked. Vasishtha wanted to explore and experience it. Mother said, no, I come to you whenever you call me. You're a rishi, highest form in a human level. Why you want to know me anymore? He said, no, I want to know you. That means you have to experience. That comes from all these activities. And then she, with kindness, gives us a chance to explore her. That's a very high asking. You're asking to explore the divine, the Creator herself. That's a very high order. But she'll grant you. That's the reason why she is building this temple the way she wants it. And once it's done, I hope by in the next 2 years it will complete. A lot of work is going on behind. You don't get to see it. But soon we will open. And in 2 years, year and a half, we'll have have the most wonderful temple on earth. Can you imagine that privilege? And we are participants. So participate. Ultimately, it goes back to some form of sacrifice. Whatever you can. $10, $100, $100,000, whatever is between you and her. I cannot make you do that. If you're not destined, you won't. I know very many rich people, but they don't know these things. But we are given the knowledge of knowing the reality, who she is, what we are, Atman, Paramatman, connection, all the knowledge our tradition teaches us. So we're very fortunate to be in this tradition so that we can communicate. We can communicate, we can connect, and we can enjoy the journey. She always says, enjoy it. Anything, even the worst time, enjoy it, because that minute is gone forever. This second I'm telling you, that's gone forever. It never comes back. So she said, enjoy even what you think as a painful existence. Learn to enjoy it, because it will become less of a pain and more of a pleasure once the wisdom comes. And I'll grant you the wisdom. That's the reason I'm doing all this. So we are the recipients of that much of kindness and that much of personal touch. We should go after her, but she comes after us, making sure that we get that grace, we get the benefit of this short-term rental, 80 years, 100 years, whatever is meant for me. I should benefit from that. You should benefit from that. That is her wish. And to do that, we go through so many ritualistic experiences, and our tradition is very rich, very profound, very complex. It's not simple, it's complex, but she says, just do what is right. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That is all our religion is. It's very complex, but very simple. Just follow the fundamentals of Hinduism, which is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Very practical, very pragmatic, very clear in what you have to do. It's not a complex thing, but the process is complex. They made it into complex because we need to go through some complexity. To do that, we have to sacrifice. Ultimately, the word is sacrifice. The creation is an act of sacrifice. She sacrificed herself to create. That means going back, it also would involve the same process. So sacrifice seems to be important. Penance, she doesn't put too much stress. Other religions put stress on penance. That means you have to go through suffering. You got to go through pain. He says, no, enjoy me. Anything I do, enjoy me. Ultimately, you'll come back to me. I will make sure I take you back. So enjoy, but follow the fundamentals. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Don't do evil, don't harm, don't cause pain, don't cause violence. But enjoy the life. Enjoy what I have given you. So it's very, very pragmatic, common sense, nice, sweet, and very personal. She monitors, she follows, she knows our problem. She knows the karma has their own way of doing things. She knows what we have done, and we know some of it. But ultimately, with her grace, we will overcome and all the karmic debt. I call it karmic dirt. And Kartikeya helps us to remove that dirt. That's the reason why symbolically he is given the most powerful weapons to remove the evil. That is the dirt. What the fundamental dirt is the loss of knowledge. We don't know who we are. We think we are what we appear to be. But we are divine. We came from her. And we have the potentiality to be divine, to go back to her. This is a nice surrounding. She builds a beautiful temple. She shows us the process of purification. That's fundamental. Purification is high. Purification is fundamental. If you want divine to wake up in you, the least we should give her is purity. Be pure. Do your best to purify yourself. Don't cause harm. Don't cause violence. And enjoy it. That's one beautiful part of our tradition. She says, enjoy it. Nothing wrong in enjoying it. But dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Keep to that four thing, and which is very logical. You need to travel back. To do that, we have to know this. Most important thing she has provided. What is it? The grace, the kindness, the affection, that we are important. She would build a place for us. Come and take me. Essentially saying, come and take me. Divine doesn't do that. You have to go after the divine. Many, many lifetimes, many penance, many suffering. But in this place, her tradition is no. You are special. You have done what needs to be done, and you have come back to me. I have taken you. I will build a place for you. You just come and consume. Consume me. Can you imagine? Divine telling us, consume me. No, it's the opposite. First you have to know the divine, then learn how to consume. Here she has given herself and telling you, here it's me. I'll build the place for you. And if you know each one is very profound. Those deities, you see the model, a very profound deity. That's what I was telling someone. To protect from that evil, from that intense asuric time, we need immediate protection, not a long-term protection. For instance, at the entrance of your home, if I put a policeman in the uniform, that is more useful than knowing the chief of police. Because there's no time. When the evil comes, you need there at that time. So she has given us those deities. You don't know them. Many of them I haven't heard of them. Once we complete it, you will know them. And they will be with you as a protector immediately. First line of defense. And the time is such, I can see terrible tragedies. I can see why it will happen, why it's a time to happen. It may take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever time it is, but she will protect. And we will be ready for that. Because she has given a wonderful, wonderful house of hers with all her energies. Most importantly, the kindness, the compassion, the love, the affection. In return, we have to consume it. Ultimately, consumption is important. I can give you all the food, but you have to consume it. The consumption comes from our own attempt and sacrifice. But is it a sacrifice to go and consume divine? It's a pleasure. But the word sacrifice is ingrained in all the tradition. They say it's a sacrifice. It is not a sacrifice. She sacrificed. The only entity which sacrifices is her. We are the consumers. So she is herself sacrificed. And the creation started like that, an act of sacrifice, where we have Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Behind them, standing is Mahamaya. She is the creator. So on this day, thank her, thank Kartikeya, thank Shaktivel, the Jnanavel, Shaktivel. All the concepts are practical, they're very useful, they may be very romantic, but nothing wrong in having a religion, which is romantic too. Why should the religion be depressive, unhappy? Enjoy. So our tradition is enjoy everything, nothing wrong with that. But don't break the fundamental codes, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Stick to that. Don't harm. Don't cause pain. Don't cause violence. That is the tradition of our, I don't want to say religion, because ours is not a religion. It's a way of life she has granted us. And this is beyond what to call religion. Actually restricts, religion separates. And strangely, relagio, the meaning, Latin word means unite. But does religion unite? The religion, the way the world understands, does it unite? No, it doesn't unite. It causes separation. Separation between divine and us to begin with. and separation between the various paths. But ultimately, any religion to me is good. But understand it, and most importantly, try to explore and experience it. When you have a chance, take advantage of it. Here, she is building it. I will take advantage of it. I will participate it in every way I can, because that is the best investment I can make. Any other investment I make is a short term. It can last for your lifetime, that's all. It's gone. And the man who died.
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs.
No?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, 1 second, $20 billion worth of Apple stock he had at the time of his death. In 1 second, the connection is gone. Nothing is there. So if you want a long-term investment, you have to invest in your soul, in the Atman, Paramatman connection, and all these things we do. This is a long-term investment. This never goes away. I may go away. My mind, body, intellect, ego may go away, but my soul doesn't go away. It carries the investment. What other investment you can think of which can do that? Let you carry it. No other investment. The minute you say investment, it's transient, temporary. You leave and go, you won't even know. So he doesn't even know. Steve Jobs doesn't even know. The second is gone, is gone. The entity is gone. The soul persists, but the memory is lost. Connection is lost. The asset is lost forever. Whereas we, the way she designs our life, she makes sure we have a long-term investment. We can carry it. So isn't it a beautiful concept? And that is true. It is not something romantically I create. It is a truth. If we have grace of Divine Mother, enough for her to invite us, enough for her to build the most complex, it's a very complex deities. Those deities we will have, about 30 of them inside, they're very complex deities. To understand them, to relate to them, and most importantly, to wake them up in us. It exists, but we don't know that. We probably would never know. It takes so many lifetimes, almost 1 million lifetimes, to wake up that energy. To do that, we need Divine Mother. And that she has given us. She has not only given us, she is doing all this so that we can come and participate and consume her. That's what we are doing. We consume that part of sacrifice. And she has sacrificed. The creation is an act of sacrifice. Virat Purusha, Mahavishnu, he asked, Brahma asked, what do I create with? Mahavishnu told him, create with me. I am the Agni Purusha. Use me as a sacrificial act and create. And that we are the result of that. But we do have the negative aspect. Everything has a sweet energy. You cannot say I am pure. You cannot be pure to that degree. You can be pure to relative degree, but you can't be pure to that degree. Only divine can be. There are many divine elements. Look at the beautiful. I'm looking at those carvings. So beautiful, so alive they are. Even that she has given us. There is Agastya Bhagavan, there is Vashishta. When you look at them, the beauty of the carving itself, I see her work. She has given us she has thought of everything and given us everything needed for us to ascend back to Paramatma, from Atman to Paramatma. Because she knows that's a long travel. If it takes almost 1 million lifetimes, it must be a long travel. It must be very difficult too. So she does whatever she can to help us. Even a function like today is a symbolic function, but it's very, very real. On this day, you think of Kartikeya, you think of Jnanaveer, you think of Valli Devayana, you think of all the drama, and wake that knowledge in us so we can participate in that. So everything goes back to mind. That's why moon is so important. Without that, without the mind, you don't know anything. So the mental aspect, soul is important, That is sun's aspect, soul. The moon's aspect is mind. Moon is mind. And that has to be active, and you have to know. And she makes sure she builds a beautiful, beautiful place, powerful place, full of yakshinis, mohinis with the others, where we will be invited. We have to be invited. And each one of you, you may think you came for various logical reasons. Trust me, I don't see the logic. She has to choose. She will choose, and you be here on this day. I was fortunate. I was here this morning doing the homework. You will. People who watched it, they were there. So we try to stream it. We try to share as much as we can. But ultimately, it's her wish, her desire. She wants us to receive her. She will do whatever needs to be done for us to be aware. And ultimately, it all goes back to awareness. We have to be aware of divine, and we have to be aware that divine is in us. And we have to be aware we are separated trillion miles away from her at the time of creation. And now we are going back. With her kindness and compassion and grace, we will go back. And we will also enjoy the process. Don't look at it as a suffering. Life is not a suffering. She says all the time that life is not a suffering. There's a purpose. You learn to enjoy it, whatever you can. But ultimately, the planets have their say. They decide our perception of that particular moment. That is planetary. That is caused by us. We wrote the story. We wrote the story. She didn't, she observes. We write the story and we act out. We are the producers, we are the observers, we are the actors. But the story is our karma, our life. That's the reason why for the creation, if you have people ask why are we created, there's a purpose of that. The karmic dirt has to be removed. To do that, you have to be aware. To do that, it takes so many lifetimes. So all this makes sense when you look from outside. But when you're inside going through pain, suffering, and happiness, you don't, because you're right inside. So you got to come out with a philosophical third eye. They call it third eye. That eye has to wake up. And that eye wakes up when she wants us to wake up. So we are deep asleep. We have to wake up. That's the reason why she came as Mahamaya in that place. Because that wakes up and shows us the reality, what is real, what is unreal. But she'll be with us. To do this much, she has to be very compassionate, very loving. And most importantly, we have earned it. As I said, almost 1 million lifetimes. I said almost 1 million because Arjuna was told by Krishna, 840,000 times you had come. And I have been with you, I have seen you grow up. But you don't remember anything because we should not remember. If you remember, the karmic dirt gets too deeply ingrained, you won't know that. So you have to go through that like a normal person under the influence of planets. Ultimately, they have the final say. But even that story is written by us. She's so fair. She lets us write the story and come and act out. What a beautiful concept. What a how much kindness for her. In the meantime, that divine energy puts up with all this we do. We do many, many bad things, negative thought in the process. Hopefully we won't, but it's the nature of any living being. Like ultimately, what controls us is Asuric energy. Asuric energy is more intense than Devic energy. The reason is the nature of that act of Asuras are very intense. Like hate is definitely more powerful than love. However loving you can be, the intense hatred is very powerful. That is Asuric. So she gives us both choices, hate and love both, and you choose. And you promote what you want it to manifest in us. And all the spiritual activities, they help. They tell us who we are, where we came from, where we are going from here, All this knowledge comes when you go into spirituality. And this place is full of actions. And you people are me, including I am with you. We are very fortunate to be involved in those energies, which are super sensuous energy, by the way. They're not human. They're super sensuous beings. She shows us them and gives us a chance to learn from that world, which is Devaloka. And this is the entrance. Many gurus who came here, they always refer to this place as Devaloka. The reason is the cosmic energies, non-human, are very active here. And we can perceive them. And she gives us the grace to understand them. So we are destined to go into that world. But before you go into the world, you got to know that world. Most people do not know that world exists. They know only this world. But that world exists. It's a thinking consciousness. That level of consciousness exists, and we are already aware of that. But being aware alone is not enough. We have to be able to consume it. To do that, we have to do many, many acts. You call it sacrifice, whatever it is. You need to do those, you need to go through those processes so that we can receive her. We can consume her. She will prepare the food and give it to us, but we have to consume her. That needs evolution, the knowledge, the wisdom, and also the protection from evil, protection from asuric thoughts, asuric energy. That Kartikeya provides through this symbolic act. And this day is the most powerful day, Pushya, constellation Pushya. On this day is the day he slayed that. Is he slayed completely? No, it cannot be complete. He exists, 1/1,000,000,000 of it. He is weakened like a vaccine. He exists as a vaccine. And he will always exist. Without the negative aspect, the positive would not be useful to us. We need that. And to do that, we have to go through sacrifice, knowledge, wisdom. All this, we are part of it. On this day, the grace of Kartikeya is very intense here because we did a homa, we did abhishekam, we did all this needed to be done for us. She makes sure we do them properly. She gives a mantra, proper mantra. She gives us yantra. In the previous night I do prayogam. There she comes and gives us the secretive mantra, the effects of the mantra, which we will. So we are very fortunate. I'm saying we because I'm part of you. Whatever she gives me, she gives you. But you have to be aware. And also you have to consume her. Please consume her. Come and participate in the wonderful, wonderful work, sacrifice she is doing for us. Participate in that. Give what you can. Because this is a chance of a lifetime. You'll never have this again. So once a year and a half, 2 years from now, we'll be complete. Then you lost out the chance. So during this time is a very auspicious time. Participate in any way you can. Like I said, $1, $10, 100,000, million, whatever you can. That would be between you and Paramatma, and Divine Mother. She will tell you what to do. And you will do that. And your soul will be very pleased, very peaceful. When the soul is pleased and peaceful, you're happy. Your travel becomes short. Your next level, next stage goes very quickly, and we move on very quickly. So take advantage of it. I can't explain how kind Mother can be. You give her to be that personal, to come and create a place of worship where she knows what to do, she knows how to approach. All this knowledge is impossible for a human to acquire in one lifetime. It probably takes millions of lifetimes. But luckily she has provided them. I'm looking at Vashishta, I'm looking at Agastya Bhagavan. All this intermediary. Were they human? The Saptarishis were not really human, but they became human so that we can relate to them as human. Otherwise the connection becomes too farther if they are not human. So she makes them on as a Saptarishi, human, but they are really divine beings. If you look at it in that level, all of us are divine. If you carry it to that degree of explanation, we all divine because we came from that source. Whatever the source is, we are. But the separation is huge and the challenges are big. She has helped us with kindness to overcome the challenge by being so personal and so loving, so affectionate. So we take it by reverence, by our own affection. We take that thing. Thank you and happy